Effectively, this guitar gives you 90% of what RG550 is for the 50% of the price tag. Hello, my name is Michał and I'm an Ibbyhead. This channel is a journey to document every Ibanez guitar ever made. And today we're looking at this RG450. This guitar will give you everything that the hyped, legendary and frankly overpriced RG550 has for the half of the price. So let's dig into this. This designation was used by Ibanez many times and currently you probably associate it with RG450DX, mid-tier Indonesian guitars, but it wasn't always like that. When the Ibanez naming convention sort of settled at the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, 400 was this kind of like middle of the line. It either meant like a lower-end Japanese-made guitars or higher-end Korean guitars. And so was the case of the 1990 RG450. That was made in Korea. After very successful release of the Gem and 550 in the 87, Ibanez wanted to give its customers this style of guitar at a bit lower price point. Even though 550 was basically more affordable Gem, it was still, pretty expensive guitar. And that 1990 RG450 filled that gap. It had a bit of less engineered neck than the Wizard, cheaper pickups, and a simplified body construction with the square hill joint that required less labor during production, plate-mounted jack that didn't require extra route for the wiring, and it also sported TR's 101 bridge, made in Japan by Takeuchi, but not as complex to manufacture as the Edge bridge. You can recognize those early 90s Korean RGs from that period with the larger Ibanez logo without the swoosh. And they also had this pretty cool font with the RG series written underneath. But something weird happened in 1992. Ibanez released RG450 that had V pickups, Ibanez Edge tremolo, Wizard neck, but still kept this cheaper style of body with the square joint and the plate-mounted jack. Effectively, this guitar gives you 90% of what RG550 is for the 50% of the price tag. This is the kind of knowledge you get from that channel, so subscribe if you want more of that. But probably because of that, this guitar didn't make a lot of sense financially for Ibanez. Just 2 years later, they moved back the production of it to Korea. They downgraded its hardware and 400 series was the higher end of the Korean and Indonesian made of guitars. Some other good examples, 450DX that started production in 2015, and it's basically Gem Junior without the monkey grip. Another good example of like really well-spec 400 series guitar was this 465 that had stock DiMarzio pickups. This one doesn't have because I butchered it. But at that time was also the only way to get the HS configured RG for a reasonable price because the 90s 565s were getting ridiculous. Now we get the re-release through Genesis series, but those still are fairly expensive guitars. Okay, so as we usually do, let's go through the name decoding. There's not much left here to do, but let's do it. RG for RG series, 400 for the 400 kind of level. We just talked extensively what does it mean for Ibanez. 50 is the HSHR mounted to the pickguard and routed in the front, so we don't have any back electronics cavity. And this would get the color code BK because it's just a plain black guitar. And this black body is made from basswood, as most of the RGs are. It has a maple Wizard neck, one piece with this angled with the scarf joint, mounted to the square hill joint with the 4 screws and the metal plate. As the Wizard name suggests, this is the fastest, the thinnest Ibanez neck ever. The 70 millimeters at the 0 fret and 20 at the 12th fret, 17-inch radius. It's a flat, fast neck. You get black Godot tuners, the string retainer and the black top lock 3 nut, which paired with the Edge tremolo creates this very stable double locking system, which gives the Ibanez amazing tuning stability. By the specification, it should have like V pickups, so V1, S1, V2, but this one had the bridge pickup switched to Infinity 2. This guitar's successor would have those pickups, but this one has it. It's a bit more bass heavy pickup than V2. Otherwise, it has a standard HSH switching with the 5-way switch and the master volume, master tone. The knobs and the switch tip has been replaced to the green. Also, logo was kind of replaced. Original would be white, and this is the kind of green-pink, so it represents the modding culture at that time. You know, in the 90s and the early 2000s, a lot of Ibanez RG owners wanted to make them look a bit more like gem. That was a thing and still is in some places. I guess that was an attempt at it. I used to hate those colorful mods of the RGs, but now I'm kind of embracing the culture and I'm all for it. If it's your guitar, do whatever you want with it. I'm not judging you. As this is 400 series, we're gonna have only trem cavity in the back. There is no electronics cavity because it's a front-loaded guitar, and there is no jack cavity because it's a plate-mounted jack. This is what we can expect. And also a standard for that era, black simple strap pins, so nothing suspicious here. So I'm curious of the quality of those mods inside, so I'm just gonna put it on the workbench and just see inside. Okay, so we have the pocket stamp with 450R, which is not surprising because this is RG450. The neck says RG470R. This could mean that it's a mismatched neck, but it's not always the case. Usually the series share the same neck, and 470, 460, 450 will have the same neck, and in factory they don't really care, they just speak according to specification, and sometimes we see those mismatched stamps. You know, if this happens in your guitar, it doesn't mean it's been swapped. It sometimes happens straight from the factory that the neck look mismatched, but it's just, you know, this is the same neck, they were just like stamped differently. And the R in the stamp is rosewood, and this makes sense in case of the neck. Another thing is the electronics. And we can see those are like Japanese electronics. This is the YM50 switch, which is pretty common in Japanese guitars from that period. And those are also big pots. But Korean guitars will have like a bit smaller pots usually. And it's different. So yeah, this all looks legit, apart from that pickup on the bridge. But we already know that. From afar, this guitar looks probably pretty okay, but it's pretty dinged up. In some places, there's like uncovered wood from the paint falling off. In other places, it's fixed with probably with a nail polish. That's the favorite material for home finish fixes. That decal upgrade is also like a bit botched job. You can see like bubbles of air trapped underneath and not so great black repaint, but you know, it does the job. It looks okay from far away. So that's the condition of this guitar. I hope you enjoyed this quick look at the 450 from the time they were made in Japan. They're not so common on the market, but if you find one, don't hesitate to grab one. It's a solid guitar. And if you enjoyed that video, there's a button for that underneath. If you want more of that secret Ibanez knowledge, feel free to follow the channel and check other videos. For example, this one. And see you in another video of documenting every Ibanez guitar ever made.